Hey guys, I'm in for a treat today. I'm sure of that, and hopefully you are too. Because as I was doing some of my stuff on YouTube, online, and the other day, I saw this interview. Like YouTube makes recommendations, you're familiar with that. It makes recommendations to you based on your viewing history and stuff. And it recommended, like, there was this interview of Sissy Spacek and Loretta Lynn from 1980. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I kind of ignored it at first, but I'm like, something kept calling me back to it. So like a minute later, I was back, oh no, I gotta watch this interview. And so, Coal Miner's Daughter had just been released. Let's see here. Yeah, March 7th, 1980, Coal Miner's Daughter had been released, the movie. And, those of you know this, Sissy Spacek played Loretta Lynn in the movie. And so I'm like, I wonder what an interview with the two of them would be like. I don't know. Let's see. So it turns out that they weren't together in the interview. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched like a snippet or two because I wanted it to be a surprise for me too on camera here. But just a little bit of background, then we'll just watch this interview. It was like a bonus type thing. It's not a song. We're not going to hear the song, just in an interview from 1980. Sissy won the Academy Award for Best Actress for this. Some of you know this, and I get that, but for those who don't know it, I'm putting it out there so everybody understands that or knows it. And the movie won the Golden Globe for Best Picture. So, Coal Miner's Daughter was a heck of a movie. And now here's the thing, interesting. Loretta is from Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, or you guys might say Holler. And I know my friends in South Carolina, that's how they say it, down in the holler. And but Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, and Sissy is from Quitman, Texas. So they got a Texan and a Kentuckian to do their thing. And some of you guys have said, in Texas, you guys have said, we adopt Oklahomans and Georgians and some other folks, depending on their music here. So maybe Sissy is in an adopted Texan now or something like that. So here we go. We're just going to watch the interview. Let's see what they got to say about the movie.
The current movie, Coal Miner's Daughter, is about country singer Loretta Lynn and her remarkable rise from the back hollows of Kentucky to the pinnacle of fame and fortune in the music world. She told her Cinderella story in a book by the same name. Now in the movie, Loretta is portrayed by Sissy Spacek, whom you may remember from Carrie and other blood-curdling thrillers. Well, in this one, she does her own singing and is absolutely wonderful as Loretta Lynn.
I really don't know what it is, and I think a lot of it has to do with being in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people. There's it's hard to understand because there are thousands and thousands of talented actors out of work. But I think that I feel like it's survival of the fittest. If you got to keep on keeping on. I was in the music business for 4 or 5 years and nothing happened. And so I tried modeling and really nothing happened with that. I was too small, so I thought, well, acting, that's... And so I kept kind of moving around to find my little niche. Mm-hmm. And my film career seemed to happen.
Carrie was the turning point, would you say?
Well, maybe commercially, but the turning point for me was Badlands.
Well, now what's the difference? Most people think commercially is where it all starts and begins and ends.
Well, Badlands was, I worked with a wonderful, wonderful director named Terry Malick, and I think that was the first time I really, really felt like an actress. Before, I would always go up and audition for parts and feel like I was fooling somebody.
Yeah.
And after Badlands, I felt...
But you had a right to be there to seek the part. Now, you do all your own singing in Coal Miner's Daughter, which is the story of Loretta Lynn. I was amazed how good a singer you were. Now, I don't know why I was amazed. But I wonder, it may almost... I sat there wondering, well, maybe singing's not such a hard thing to do after all.
It's not.
A lot of people could be great country singers or singers and be successful. But there again, I asked Loretta why she made it and so many people haven't. She really couldn't answer the question like you really can. I guess no one really can.
I learned something from Loretta when I was working on this project. There were times when I'd get real scared and I wouldn't think I could do it. and she'd go and she'd say, "You've got to believe you can do it. You got to just know you're great." And she has this real positive attitude about things, and it really helped me a lot. Just having confidence and believing in yourself and just going for it. If you bobble a little bit, it'll make people like you better, because then they'll realize that you're human.
Married at 13, the mother of 4 children by the time she was 19, Loretta Lynn is a determined woman whose life story seemed almost too incredible to be true.
Well, when I first went to Nashville, I was about 24, 25 years old. And everybody that come to Nashville that I would sit down and talk to wanted, if they wrote it all, wanted to write my life story. And I never could figure out why anybody wanted to hear about my life, you know, because it just, as far as I was concerned, it's just like anybody else's life.
Now, come on. Now you.
Really. And maybe some of them didn't marry as young, maybe some of them married just as young, you know.
Yeah, but they didn't end up being a world-famous personality.
Well, when I went to Nashville, neither was I. You know, I just got really started when a lot of people wanted to write my life story.
Now, Loretta, there's a lot of women who sing country music and others who write their own. Why do you think you have been so particularly successful? What is it about you, do you think?
Maybe I've worked just a little bit harder.
Think so?
I think so. I think that's probably the secret. I've worked much harder than people really know.
Well, what do you mean? Explain what you mean work harder.
Well, when you have 4 kids and them in school, and that's when you start singing, you've already got a big enough job. If you raise them 4 kids, you keep your house clean, you take care of your husband, hey, that's a full-time job right there. And you start doing something else that takes you away from that, you have that much of more responsibility. So it's very, very tough. And it takes a lot of work. I didn't sleep. I wrote songs at night. I might have slept 3 hours a night when I was really trying to make it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the kids suffered at all?
Definitely, I've suffered.
Have you?
And I'm sure that it was hard on them, because many times I've known that they needed me, that I couldn't be there, you know.
Why did Mooney want you to do that, your husband?
Well, he figured, see, he didn't know that much about the business. In fact, he didn't know nothing about the business. He had to learn as we got into business, and he thought we could be singing for a couple of years and we'd make a lot of money. He thought everybody that was in the business made a lot of money for the first 2 or 3 years. He said, we'll get us a new home, we'll get all the money we need, and we'll quit. You know, why, 2 years later, I was pregnant and had twins. You know, after I started singing, it was a tough road. It was a tough road. I sang right up till the babies was born. I was at the Grand Ole Opry Friday and Saturday night. Tuesday night, I took sick.
Really?
Yes, and I had the babies. And I was back on the road 2 weeks later.
Wow.
There's a scene in the movie which shows you scrubbing out a bathtub. Why is that scene in there? You know? Is that to make a point that you still do things like that around the house?
I still do. You better believe it.
I don't know. Now, if you made millions of dollars, would you scrub your own bathtub? Well, anyway, this movie is good, and particularly the set design is fantastic, recreating the post-war era in Kentucky. It's quite a story. We'll be right back.
Wow. I mean, what do you say? I mean, that's their own words, so I'm not adding to it. You learn a lot from people, and just you look in and you admire the qualities in some people, and just to hear Loretta's story, 4 kids and in the music business and 3 hours of sleep. I mean, you know, my former business partner, my ex-wife, and I, you know, we owned a dance school for over 20 years, and I wound up foregoing graduate school because the business took off, and so I stayed, and I was on the business side. I'm not a dancer, you know, but I know, you know, I was on the finance side, the business side, customer relations side, if you want to call it that. And I pay attention. Like, life to me is a sociological fishbowl. You got to live it, but you got to pay attention to it. And I saw how hard it was on women, you know, mothers, because, you know, mothers can't, it was like 98% mothers. Every so often a dad would come in if he, you know, was laid off of work or didn't have a job or retired or whatever the deal was, but mostly women. And I just saw the struggles, just getting a kid out of a car, a 3-year-old out of a car into the dance class. Because if you also have a 1-year-old in the car, or you've got 3 kids in the car and maybe part of a carpool, I'm like, oh my gosh. I just paid attention to the challenges. And I know as a guy, we don't understand fully what makes you women tick. It's just that simple, and vice versa, you know. But it was easy to see, all right, one, if you break it down, that women are thinking people, just men are thinking people, women are thinking people. And we're feeling people. And now you got spit up on your shoulder because the one kid spit up on you and the other one lost her ballet shoe. But you know, you got to drive the kids home and there's a carpool maybe. And then you got to make dinner. And I'm like, and then there's no sleep at night, you know, sometimes. And so when I hear Loretta talking like this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like just being tired for one full day because you only got 3 hours sleep is brutal. Doing that for years on end. Anyway, and I have a crush on Sissy Spacek. Oh my gosh, that just beautiful, intelligent, thinking woman, just beautiful. But those are my comments. You guys got to see what I got to see as well in this, and what a time to go back to. This was just really good stuff. So now I want to go watch the movie again. So that's it. All right. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. No rating on that. What do you rate something like that? It's just what it is. Have a great day. See you on another video. Keep rocking the country.